All right, good morning, everyone. I think I heard a little bit backstage about tequila, so hopefully everyone's recovering from that. Thank you again, Ray. I'm certainly thrilled to be here with all of you today in Austin. It's always exciting to come to an event like this where there's just so much energy and passion around technology. And I think we can all agree that technology has fundamentally changed how we do business. From things like cloud analytics, Internet of Things, all those have helped some companies reinvent their traditional business model. It's helped other companies reduce cost and grow their reach. And the pace of change in technology continues to accelerate and accelerate. So when you think about things like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, all those things are finding their way into mainstream businesses. And as an industry, we've seen the need for mission-critical bandwidth reach an all-time high. And as more adopt the cloud, streaming video, smart devices, the need for bandwidth will continue to climb, which is great for our industry. And when you think about it, change isn't new, but in my mind, what has changed is the pace of user adoption. So this chart shows the time that it took for a quarter of the US population to adopt various technologies. So you can see electricity, the telephone, the television, all took between 25 and 45 years to reach 25% adoption rates. After the PC, we saw a rapid adoption of the internet in 5 years, cell phones and tablets in 2 or 3 years. But let me put this in a way that my 3 grandsons can completely relate to. It took 75 years to reach 50 million users of the landline phone. Television took 22 years. Facebook, 3 years. Twitter, 2 years. But the ultimate example is Angry Birds. So, this is pretty unbelievable. Angry Birds reached 50 million downloads in only 35 days, which means 100 downloads per minute. Now, okay, I'm somewhat biased, but are those cute kids or what? My 3 grandsons were a big part of driving that adoption curve, I assure you. And historically, within our industry, we've done a pretty good job of responding to change. I'm sure most of you, maybe some of you, can remember the distinct sound of a dial-up connection. Remember that? Where success sounded like this. That wasn't that long ago, folks. And we've changed a lot since then. We've changed a lot to provide greater speeds and bandwidth options. So when you think about the evolution from ISDN to T1s to multi-meg and now to gig speeds, all of that is being done to feed the growing bandwidth needs of our data-hungry organizations. And as an industry, we've evolved from providing rigid fixed networks to providing solutions like SD-WAN, so that organizations have greater control to manage and optimize their network. And as a service provider like Spectrum Enterprise, SD-WAN gives us the same capabilities to manage our own network. So, change isn't new, nor is our ability to provide the technologies that address change. But as technology changes, we've only provided half of the solution. The reality is that our technology, our industry, is more important than it's ever been. Bandwidth needs are skyrocketing, but when things go wrong, we haven't exactly been the poster child for superior client experience. There's certainly room for improvement. I think these numbers speak for themselves. As an industry, we focused on evolving the technology, while changes in the client experience have failed to keep pace. And today's enterprise operates across a highly dynamic landscape. Every obstacle, outage, or delay equates to dollars lost or opportunities missed. Now, improving the client experience obviously isn't new. It's a priority for every one of us, or should be, whether you're a service provider here today or not. We all want our clients to experience less pain. Less pain from an outage, or less pain getting support. So let me give you an example of what I mean. All of us want to reduce hold times for our clients. I think we can all agree that shorter hold times is a good thing. The problem is that we're over-focused on internal operating metrics. We've lost sight of the end result. And why do I say that? Well, what if your clients don't want to reach you through the phone? Improving hold times may not actually be improving your client's experience. You may be looking at the wrong metrics. What if your client wants to use web chat, or send a text message, or use Twitter, which certainly seems to be the rage these days? I think the fundamental question is, how do your clients want to connect with you? Have you asked them that question? And I mean actually talk to them? Ironically, the answer to that question could in fact reduce your hold times because less of them would be calling you. The point is this: the operational metrics you're focused on may no longer be relevant to your clients. We've seen how technology has changed our clients. They are consuming it differently and need to conduct business with us in ways that are aligned with their new reality, not ours. And product innovation is only half the solution. As their needs evolve, so do their expectations. Expectations that go beyond just new capabilities and new features. Their expectations are for seamless interactions. And as their businesses become more complex, they are more dependent on technology to solve their business problems. They need relationships that make it easier for them to do business. And when it's mission-critical bandwidth, their network doesn't just run their business, their network is their business. At Spectrum Enterprise, we've taken this shift very seriously. We've invested millions of dollars with a very clear mission, and that mission is to deliver an effortless client experience. It's in the DNA of everything we offer and everything we do. We know that every interaction, every employee, every process, every action we take with our clients affects how our clients feel about us. Every employee has a piece of the responsibility for enhancing the client experience. Our clients are partners with us in this transformation. We gain insight from our clients into their point of view, their expectations, and the impact of not just what we do, but how we do it. Let's hear from some of our clients and some of my team members on things that we're currently doing at Spectrum Enterprise.
Client experience is a critical part of what we look at anytime we're looking at a vendor. Our relationship with our clients is very personal. That's what being a community bank is all about. In order to give that, we need to receive that from our vendors.
I am big on my vendors being an extension of my IT team because they hold various different keys to the success of our IT infrastructure, as well as the success of what support we produce to our clients.
Whether it's in healthcare or government or education or finance, these businesses have some complex challenges that they're dealing with. Sometimes they're growing significantly. Sometimes technology is starting to get in front of their capabilities. And what they're really looking for is somebody who can come in, listen, understand what it is that they are trying to accomplish, and taking the time to help them reach the goals that they're achieving.
If we want to improve the client experience, it really starts with understanding what matters most to clients.
Whether it's through in-depth interviews or what's called ethnographic research, where you try and really understand what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, recently, somebody spent a day with our network administrator just to see what a day in the life of a network administrator was.
They brought their team on site here. And when I say their team, I'm not talking about salesmen. I'm talking about engineers that talk to our network folks. They spoke the same language and clearly understood our challenges. Spectrum Enterprise's re-engineering of the client experience is evident in what we've seen them do.
When we think about our clients, when we think about ourselves, we're people helping people.
We have highly qualified research professionals on our team that are trained to be able to detect things like emotions through the interviews. We also have software that enables us to mine for unstructured data so that we can detect the emotional state of a client at any given time.
You create potential solutions, you prototype those solutions, you test them and validate them. If you don't get it right, you keep iterating until you get it right.
We feel really blessed that every time we call, we get a response, we get action, and our partners there with us.
Having a dedicated account representative has been instrumental in building that relationship. Not everything is straightforward, as we all know today, and having that honest dialogue has been instrumental in that success.
They weren't afraid of bringing out the dirty laundry and said, we're going to follow up on this, follow up on that, and so forth. And they actually followed up. They're wanting to learn from the client and say, where can we do business better? How can we make our relationship even better?
We believe that the client experience evolves as a true partnership.
So I love that video. And as you heard, we use several different methods to better understand our clients. Much like design thinking creates more intuitive products, client experience design puts the clients at the center of everything we do, which is where they should be. At Spectrum Enterprise, we're a national company, and clients interact with us in many different ways. And to gain insight into our clients, we map their expectations and emotions across every interaction. We use research to identify gaps in that experience, meaning when their experience doesn't meet their expectations. When that happens, our teams prototype and test various alternatives until the right answer is found. This is not a small undertaking. This is a full-on team, high-contact sport. And no one is on the sidelines. We all work across functions to understand our interdependencies. And to better understand what we do and how we do it impacts our clients as people. So let me ask you this. Have you ever taken a survey and then wondered, well, that was interesting, what happens next? I think we've all been there. Maybe you get a courtesy call back, but you get the sense they're just checking it off the box and saying that this was the process we're following. I think we've all been in that situation, and it makes you feel powerless or that you just wasted time. Our clients need to feel empowered. At Spectrum Enterprise, we literally read and take action on every piece of feedback we receive from our clients. Every concern results in immediate outreach and tracking to resolution, and this is an ongoing two-way dialogue. Good or bad, feedback is important. The good feedback certainly makes us feel better, but the not so good feedback makes us a better company. And for that reason, we maintain a closed loop process to stay aligned with our clients' expectations. Closing the experience gap is fundamental to our industry and to our clients as they transform through our technology. But that's not the only gap we found. There's another major shift. The technology landscape has changed, and so has the business landscape. Industries are converging. Today, a chain of drugstores, CVS, is acquiring an insurance company, Aetna. An online retailer you might have heard of, Amazon, is acquiring a supermarket chain started right here in Austin, Texas, Whole Foods. And those are just two high-profile examples, but we see these changes across almost every industry. From retail and banking, manufacturing, healthcare, businesses are looking to satisfy customer needs faster, to provide more digital services and advance their technology. These changes force us to rethink some industry assumptions. Traditionally, our industry has assumed that the greater the number of employees, the greater the technology and bandwidth requirements. Maybe the exception to that rule was the data center. But today, these assumptions are no longer fully accurate. For example, healthcare organizations don't base their network requirements on the numbers of staff and patients or locations. Instead, they base them on the technology and data they generate and use. They rely heavily on network connectivity for things like real-time transfer of high-resolution images, electronic medical records, video consultations to monitor patients with medical devices. They need mission-critical bandwidth for mission-critical situations, big or small. So here's the gap. The healthcare industry has experienced rapid consolidation, and they're doing this to provide better care and transform the patient experience while simultaneously reducing cost. And the result is transformed relationships between health systems, hospitals, and physicians. Just last year, there was a 13% increase in mergers and acquisitions in that industry, and nearly 90% of healthcare executives expect more to come over the next 18 months. With a focus on creating regional relationships, more than half of the acquisitions involved physicians and specialty practices. So what is this? All of this leads to greater independency between large health systems and small doctors' offices. So regardless of size, they all need connectivity to the same systems and hospitals to be effective. But if you look at the US fiber landscape, there's an industry access gap. Mission critical bandwidth appears to favor buildings with larger employee sizes. So today, almost all of the buildings with 250 employees or more are fiber lit. Yet less than half of the buildings with 20 to 50 employees have access to fiber. Yet those small companies' need for mission critical bandwidth is just as important. So with so many physician practices being acquired and the average having less than 50 employees in each practice, it may mean that the majority of those will not have access to fiber. None of this is unique to the healthcare sector. This industry access gap translates into significant challenges of the changing landscapes for all businesses. So how can ecosystems operate or grow without consistent access to mission critical bandwidth? Rhetorical question, the answer is they can't. Banking, retail, manufacturing, supply chain, you name it, across nearly every industry, we see this dynamic landscape emerging. Industries are evolving, ecosystems are expanding, companies of all sizes are becoming more and more interdependent. Digital infrastructure has opened doors, and frankly, there's no turning back. Today, access to fiber is just too important, bandwidth too mission critical, infrastructure too fundamental to progress. And that's why at Spectrum Enterprise, we're investing over $1 billion per year to increase the density of our fiber network. Because every business, every ecosystem should have the opportunity to reach its full potential. Within our footprint, we've also removed the access gap to fiber by funding the cost of construction to the vast majority of our buildings. In fact, we're adding more than 50 fiber-lit buildings every single day to our national network. In closing, I truly believe this is one of the most exciting times to be part of this industry. We're optimistic about what we can do and achieve together. As businesses become more interconnected, more instrumented, more dependent on connectivity, in my view, we as an industry need to lead with a client-centric vision to reshape the client experience. We need to close the industry access gap to fiber, to expand the footprint for mission-critical bandwidth. Every fiber-lit building expands the network of human progress and contributes to the growth of our digital economy. It's up to us as an industry to close the gaps, to become bold leaders that are driving real change. Our industry needs it, our clients deserve it, and we have a responsibility to make it happen. So, thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference here in Austin, and I look forward to seeing how we together can reshape our industry and the future of commerce. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. A really excellent presentation.
Thank you, Ray.
Music to my ears in many, many ways. And I just have to say, I apologize for getting the name of the company wrong. I didn't say Spectrum Enterprise. I said Spectrum Business. Apologize.
You're now
for that.
out of the penalty box. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Obviously, you know, it's great the focus on customer experience, listening to the customer,
Yes.
and thinking about all the different types of companies that need really excellent fiber access, high-speed broadband. As you've been executing this strategy, what are the surprises or biggest lessons that you've learned that maybe you weren't expecting?
Yeah, great question. So a couple of things come to mind, and several of them I've already addressed here. I've been in this industry a long time, and in this industry for a very long time, 25, 30 years, there's been a lot of conversation about various technologies, so software-defined networks, for example. And it's like the old joke in Washington, when it's all said and done, more gets said than done. Pretty good joke, I thought. But now it's actually becoming a reality. So on a real-time basis, as clients become more and more dependent upon bandwidth, as more and more things move to the cloud, as the Internet of Things begins to be deployed, the requirements for bandwidth will continue to increase, and the requirements for putting advanced applications like SD-WAN on top of those, that bandwidth will increase as well. So it's becoming very real, and it's becoming very real very fast.
Right.
That's one thing. The second thing is, as it becomes very real very fast, it's not an overstatement that what we're providing to our clients is mission critical. So we've got to physically expand our network to reach them, but we have to double down on our commitment to provide them extraordinary client care. That's, to me, the biggest surprise, is the speed that is becoming real.
Right, yes. And that's a speed we all need to keep up with in the industry. That's one of the biggest challenges. Fantastic presentation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.